Will lifeguards ever return to the beaches of South Haven? It's a question that many are demanding the answer to after the city had 3 drownings last summer alone.
News 8's Jacqueline Francis talked with those pushing for change, including the family of one of the victims, as they shared their story for the very first time. Jacqueline.
Yeah, the grandmother of an 18-year-old who drowned over Labor Day weekend says she's tried to be reasonable, but now she just wants answers, joining a handful of others who are beginning to question where beach safety falls on the city's list of priorities, if at all.
Brandon was supposed to be home at 5 o'clock. I said to my son, hey, isn't Brandon supposed to be here? And he said, yep, I just texted him, but he hasn't answered me.
A minute later, state police knocked on the door and their lives were forever changed. 2 hours away from their Jackson area home, dive and rescue teams were scouring Lake Michigan for a teen pulled under by a rip current. 6 days later, 18-year-old Brandon Chambers' body was recovered, a loss his grandmother says was unlike any other.
With Brandon, we never got to see him because there was too much decomposition and we didn't want to see him. But at the same time, you wanted to be able to say goodbye. And we couldn't do that at all.
Chambers says Brandon was a strong swimmer and a smart kid, but that wasn't enough to save him. His grandma, now a part of a local group calling for the return of lifeguards at South Haven beaches.
They would have been an early warning system. They could have said, hey, you need to get out of the water. There's a storm coming. We know there's a rip current, and it will even pull strong swimmers out.
After 3 local drownings last summer alone, the city of South Haven formed a beach safety subcommittee to explore the idea of lifeguards, among other precautionary measures. But when beach safety wasn't included on the city's annual priority list introduced at last night's meeting, many began to question South Haven's commitment to making such change.
Certainly, it would be nice to hear from the city council that if it's not explicitly called out in the city priorities, how and where it is identified as a priority.
What drives you to keep this fight going?
So that somebody else doesn't go through what we went through. So that Brandon's death is not for nothing.
The city council member assigned to the beach safety subcommittee tells me the topic of lifeguards and other safety ideas have yet to make it out of committee, which is why it wasn't eligible to be on the city's list of priorities. The city manager backing the statement, saying the process takes time and much more discussion and review needs to take place before any major changes are implemented. Live in the newsroom, Jacqueline Francis, News 8.